I promise you I'm not going to bring a third sort of element into this debate, and not simply because of where I'm sitting. I am going to kind of tread middle ground. We've heard two sides of the debate, really animated, passionate advocates of their own sides of the debate. I'm going to be brief, just make a couple of points. The first thing I want to say from a development communication specialist's point of view is that people recognize the use of technology and the need for the use of technology in the development sector. I think we've seen enough examples now where advocacy is as much about candlelight vigils and marches and parades as it is about blogging and video virals and mobile campaigns. So I think we're at a place where we have a large section of people who work in the social development sector on our side. What we must recognize as people who work in technology, as people who advocate for the use of technology in communications, and what we must not forget is really that technology is but a means to an end. It's never really the end in itself. And that sometimes I think is something that we tend to forget and get caught up in our own debates. Which brings me to my next point, which is really from the donor agency perspective. And what we also need to recognize is that the nature of aid, the nature of development aid is changing quite drastically. So we're moving away from we're seeing a lot of donors moving away from a grant model to a model where they're looking for examples of things which will be sustainable, which will be scalable, which will be replicable, and which are really evidence-based. At DFID, we have like 3 key words which we're following for all our programs or any kind of programs that we're looking at. The 3 drivers are results, value for money, and transparency. And if we are to think about deploying or using technology in development, the first thing that we're going to think of is not what technology we're going to use, but really which is the best technology to help us achieve our results, whether the result is poverty reduction, or it's increased education, or better health services, or improved governance. So our result is that's really going to be our goalpost. In the process of making that choice, we're going to ask the question of value for money, and not necessarily value for money in the sense which is the cheapest or the most expensive option, and kind of go for one versus the other, but really what is the best choice and which choice will help me to sort of achieve my development objective in the best possible manner. And when it comes to transparency, I think we recognize that technology is something that can not only help us as a UK government department be more transparent to our taxpayers and be more accountable to people for where our money is going, but it's also something that can help our partners to be more sort of transparent and accountable, some of the words that we've already heard used, which really then brings me to the final point that I'm trying to make here, that for us, it's really not a debate of one versus the other. For us, the debate is really the question of for whom we are looking at using transparency, what is the purpose for which we're going to use it, and therefore, which model suits us the best. We don't want to be in a situation where we say that just because this is a project which is a social development project, we kind of use antiquated technology or not the best technology simply because it's free or simply because it's open. At the same time, we also don't want to be in a position where we say that we'd rather have the latest technology even if we have to pay for it. So, which really is, as you can see, a little bit of a middle ground. It's not giving you any answers, but I'm trying to present both sides of the argument, and what I'm trying to emphasize is really it's a matter of helping people make the best and the most informed choice. I'm going to pick 2 keywords. One that Mr. Akhtar Bacha made. He used the phrase economic growth, which for someone, for an organization like DFID, is vitally important. And I'll use a phrase which Mr. Yadav used, that is benefit to society, and that is equally important for us. So how do we find a way where technology can be deployed for economic growth as well as for the benefit of society?